Emily Blunt on horses? Maybe. It is The English. It's a new Amazon Prime slash BBC show. I'm here with Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday, and we took a look at this, so let's go for it. A woman seeks revenge on the man she sees as responsible for the death of her son.
Short and sweet synopsis by IMDb. Thanks, IMDb. There's a lot more that goes into this series. It's 6 episodes, but the last episode is an epic 70 minutes. And when I say epic, the whole series is an epic. It's long, like a Western often is. It builds, like a Western often does. And you're going to go through moments in this series where you're like, what are you saying? Why are you saying it? This is not a poem. It's not a stage play. And then you might end up going, I really like this.
Yeah, the pace is slow, like you would expect from a Western. The setup jumps between times, and they do give us times on the screen. So with what am I trying to say? Title cards that let us know where we are in the timeline. But that still gets a little bit confusing because there are some things that feel like they're overlapping or feel like they could be different. But what we learn later on is that no, they are actually separate timelines, and they all do converge, and they make sense there. Emily Blunt, spectacular in this. She's quiet, understated a lot of the time. There's a whole mysterious aspect to this. I mean, we know, just even from the synopsis, that she's chasing after somebody that she believes killed her son. And that's the journey that we go on. And through this, we meet a Native American who was with the United States Army as a scout. And so that's a whole different, relationship that they form, this friendship bond type of thing. But even just watching his trajectory is different and pained and awkward at sometimes.
Yeah, Emily Blunt is the person who sold me on the series. It's like, genuinely, if she's in anything, I will watch it because I think she's a phenomenal actress. But for me, the person that held my gaze for most of the series is this Native American, the actor, Mr. Spencer. I don't know his first name. Chaske. Yeah. Every time he was on screen, he would eat up the scenery. And them two together on screen then just elevates it so much more. The thing that I found very difficult with their scenes is the weird dialogue that is scripted throughout the series. It often is quick retorts. They'll say one thing and they'll say a short, snappy retort, which often doesn't answer the thing that the person was asking for. There's often questions that Emily's character will ask, and he will respond with a response that doesn't really make sense. It's not answering the question, and that happens throughout the series, and at times it really works, and at other times my brain is just like, what on earth is this? So at times I felt like it came across really pretentious. I am really smart, I'm really quirky, I'm really clever, and it wasn't that at times. And then towards the end I was like, this is beautiful, well done, the dialogue is excellent, really went on a roller coaster.
Yeah, it is. It's cryptic a lot of the time. What they're saying, and you're trying to figure out, are they saying something behind the words, or is it just stunted dialogue at times? And especially with Spencer's character, he speaks minimally. I mean, he only uses words that he needs to, which becomes frustrating at times and often like obscured on what the meaning could be. But the cinematography in this is phenomenal. I mean, not only do we have just the landscapes that are captured, but just all of the shot choices that they choose. We had talked about like silhouetting a lot of the time, because you have on the range, you have somebody riding or walking or just sitting, whatever that is, and a lot of the time they're backlit by the sun setting or the sunrise, and it really is just awe-inspiring.
There's this scene that it's a super wide shot, silhouette, the dusk is coming, and there's a horrific scene being played out on screen, and they don't cut away from it. But because it's so far away, you get to experience all the horrificness of it without being placed in it. So it allows you the freedom to go, oh, I don't like what's going on. Also experience it because they don't cut away from it. So it's like a juxtaposition, and you get to experience both sides. I don't want to watch this, but I'm also watching it because it's wide. Very clever choice selection. So not just beautiful to watch, but purposely chosen. Well crafted in those moments. And then other moments, I was just like, why have you given me a whole episode that's dialogue heavy when the previous episode was super light? It does literally do juxtapositions throughout the series.
Yeah, and part of the story, like I really enjoyed the story and the overall arc of it. But there is a point in the middle where we were questioning, like, why is this episode even here? I mean, it feels like we've taken off on this huge tangent. And some of the information is a little bit important to, especially as we get to know later down the road. But I think as a whole, we could have probably cut out like a large chunk of at least one of the episodes.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we could have had. I think like British BBC series normally are 4 to 6 episodes, and the 4 episode series are tight. That's not to say they don't do hour-long episodes. It's just that they tell the story that is needed without dragging in. Because you're Western, you have some free license because people have an expectation of it's going to be that sort of storytelling. Unfortunately, there are times when this feels like we don't need this bit of padding. We don't need that scene in there. I don't want it snappy, but I also want the pacing to be relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I don't want the story told faster than it was because it would take it out of that feeling of a Western, I think.
Yeah.
But more efficient storytelling and give us the bits that really do matter, and those ones that just, take us off on the tangent, I think those are not too needed.
However, on a positive side, I was amazed at the emotion that the series was able to evoke in me while I was watching. And that ranged from comedy to like elevated moods that I wasn't expecting, to some retorts that Emily has on occasion. She'll be very dark in her mood and then she'll retort with something and you'll be like, that's hilarious. It's a juxtaposition that we sometimes needed. And then there will be moments that you're just blown away by what you're watching on screen because it's beautiful, but also really dark. Like gut punching where the story reveals something and you're like, oh, I thought it was bad. It's way worse now.
Yeah, it really does. It has this emotional pull to the story, and it does gut punch. I mean, it's like, I didn't see that coming, and that's not okay. I think they handle for a lot of the violence that we see. I mean, there is violence within this, and I mean, it's a violent time, and so we do get to see that, but we don't always see all of the violence, which I think I appreciate too.
Yeah, sometimes it's off screen and you get to see what the characters are experiencing because they know what's happening.
Yeah.
And so you're with them and you also don't want to see it, but you know it's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was that one on the mountain that was just we're hearing things and we know what's going on, and it's just it is horrific and it is touching, and I mean it's affecting to you.
It's clever because your mind often is worse than what they could possibly show you.
Yes.
Yeah, so all in all, I think this was a long ride, but is worth watching for the performances and the cinematography. If you can handle some of that slow pacing in the middle, I think you're going to be, I don't want to say entertained, because it is entertainment, but it is harrowing. There's a melancholy sadness to it, especially the latter 3 episodes. As the story reveals itself, you just kind of get sadder and sink into a depression. And but really entertaining.
Yeah, and there is an urgency that begins to build in those last 3 episodes. I mean, you see the tension just starting to really ramp up as things are coming together and everything is being revealed, so that we are now, all of the pieces are falling together and we're understanding this. It's a limited series, which I am thankful for.
Yeah.
I was worried that, are we going to continue on with this? Because I don't see how it's going to. It would just feel really dragged out. So 6 episodes, done. It's a satisfying ending.
Yeah.
It is a little bit melancholy, maybe, but it is fitting with the tone of the story, and it feels earned. It doesn't feel like we have been cheapened or we've gotten a shortcut to how the story concludes for us.
Yeah. Some of the dialogue is magical. Some of the dialogue is fantastic. And by the time I got to the end, I appreciated what they were doing with the script. So things fell into place and I understood what they were trying to say. And so I would give this probably a 4. Like, when it's all said and done, I still really enjoyed it, even though I want to remove some of that, like a whole episode. The performances, the costume design, the cinematography, as a thing that has made a series, it's I can't fault it that much. So 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
Yeah, I agree. I do 4 also because it, for all the things you said, really, I mean, the cinematography is absolutely stunning. I'm sucked in to all of the visuals. The acting is really engaging. And the villains, they are villains. I mean, you really don't like them.
Yeah.
The heroes become heroic. And even when they are trying not to be, they're still heroic and they rise above. And so that's really great. The overall story, it did suck me in. The dialogue did take a little bit to click. And yeah, you're right. I mean, I would have trimmed down some of the episodes. But all in all, a lot of fun. There is there sex? There's no sex. There is some brief nudity, a little bit of profanity or some profanity. There's a lot of violence. And then there's just the imagery of violence, which is pretty horrific as well.
Yeah, there's an adult theme of stories and things that have happened that is definitely adult.
Yes, absolutely. Hands down. So let us know in the comments. What's your favorite Western? What do you have you heard of this? I don't even know if it the opening credits or the title sequence feels like it's almost like a graphic novel.
Oh, it's so weird. It really threw me.
But if you've read what it's based on, I don't even know if it is a book. But let us know. What's your favorite Western? Tell us in the comments below.
I'd also like to know if you've ever ridden a horse, and how did you find it?
It looks uncomfortable.
I've ridden a few. It is uncomfortable.
Yeah, it just, especially the galloping part, because those saddles,
You like
they're
it.
not actually cushiony.
Go with the bump. No, I can't.
Yeah. Oh, bad news.
Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday. Kapla!
I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.